All right, we should be good to go. But my brother, definitely super duper welcome. And I appreciate your patience for coming out. We would say Friday Conversations with Plastique on IG Live, but we're just going to say Friday Conversations since, we had to switch the platform and everything like that. So
right.
Super welcome. I appreciate you, man. How are you doing on this fine evening, sir?
I am well. Absolutely, man. We here. Thriving in the midst of it all, and moving forward, man. So I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Well, listen, I want to definitely go ahead on and get started in terms of talking about some things. Now, your voice, has resonated with me since I was a teenager because it's so distinctive and unique within the marketplace. I've never really looked at you as just a singer. I've always labeled you as an instrument that can bend into any genre effortlessly and to be able to enhance that arrangement immensely. So it's truly an honor to be in your presence and to be able to talk about this Sankofa release, bro.
There's a very accurate description, and that's pretty close to what I would say about myself, which is an instrument, because just a singer or a musician is probably too narrow. And for a lot of creatives, not just me, because that's what we do. We kind of bend and we take in energy and we make it, we funnel it through us and it becomes whatever it is. Sometimes it's different each time. So yeah, I like that description.
All right, good stuff. Well, I'm glad I'm starting off with it. Well, in previous interviews, I heard you say that you guys always kick your shows off with Pretty Brown Eyes, in terms of that. So we will kick it off before we go all Sankofa. I got to give the people at least a little bit of mint, just a dash of it, but our
little history.
Going to be Sankofa. I got to give them a little bit. Got to give them a little bit.
Yes.
So now, when you were making that great composition, did you think 30 years later it would be the classic that it is today?
All we knew, look, man, is it was special. We knew that it gave us chills. We knew every time we heard it was very emotional, when we heard it, when we did the demo, some of us just tearing up and just like hearing it, it's like, wow, it was very moving. After that, you give it to the industry, you give it to the machine, and hopefully get it out to as many people that can receive it. It's possible. And that it was a little rocky start, a little bumpy in the beginning, trying to figure out a beginning band, a beginning label, as was Jam and Lewis's Perspective Records. And we figured it out, just to get out here and touch the people. Went on our little Winnebago tour, just bare bones and just touch the people and just kind of showed them what we could do. Visited radio, visited all of the did all the PR stuff that we're supposed to do. And, sometimes some occasions we would shame people into playing the record, even if they weren't, we would thank them, like, wow, you thank you for playing the record. We're playing the record.
You're playing mind games. Thank you for playing that. We didn't play that, did we? What is that? Who are you?
Oh, okay, you're welcome.
I love it.
And so the people, we just never thought we were a hard sell. If people were to see it, to hear it, they would believe in it, and it's just just great music, we thought. So, and we like to entertain and do all the things that we did. So yeah, it's all we knew is that it was special within us and it was a success. So in those terms, everything else, you receiving it and everybody else, the listeners received it, and you all made it the champion song that it is today. Absolutely. So yeah,
love it. It's timeless. It was my introduction to you when I was a teen. Again, I'm aging both of us. I started listening to the album. I wasn't your typical teenager. I didn't just listen to one song. I listened to the entire body of work. Y'all had me when you were a band. I was already in because I came up.
You had me at band.
Yeah, you had me at band. I came up on the Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Barcade. Yeah. These are all the things my mom just spoon fed me through the years.
That's right.
So when I saw that you guys were an accent, well, wait a minute, this guy's walking on stage with an actual guitar. Like, these guys are a band. Like, this is for real. You had me at that point right there, my brother. I was locked in as a fan with that. All right, last mint question, and then we are all Sankofa from that on. What two MintCondition songs that you have there that you love to perform the most, and why?
I don't know, because they're all so special. I'm not just saying that, like, truly, it's to have a a bond with all of it, of course. You know, and it's all different. I mean, I can, any of the ones that you may know, you know, from swinging to So Fine to, you know, sometimes we do If You Love Me. What kind of man? I mean, there's so many, I can't really pick one. I guess for you now, say Swinging and So Fine.
Okay. Okay.
Just to, but I mean, but it's much bigger than that. It's just, it's hard to you know, because they're all special and they all have a special feeling, you know, especially when you deliver it. And then people like yourself, they get excited and they just reminisce. Oh, I was going through this. Oh, I remember this. Yeah, you know, it's kind of, it's a gift that keeps giving. You know what I mean? So it's hard, and there's more than 2 songs. You know, so and
Absolutely.
thankfully that we have that kind of catalog where that affects people in that way. So definitely, we got a lot of gratitude.
Yeah. University of Mint, as I've heard you say, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes, sir.
truly an institution.
Indeed.
All right. Yeah, all right.
Indeed.
From here on out, we will be using our past to power our future, because that's what Sankofa was all about. So can you, sir, tell me the difference between how you went into your first project versus the Sankofa release? Like the Sankofa release seems to be more thematic. And to me, I felt like Introducing was a little bit more of a collection of great vibes. If you could speak on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, and that's about it. Just really coming from a whole history, a lifetime of collaborating with my friends, different energy, and just having a moment and having, you know, that first thing was just having all these things around me. And it's just me making these decisions and that kind of thing. So I'm just getting into that suit, trying to fit and seeing what fits and that, but it's all the things, all of my artistic urges and all of the sensibilities that I have, you know, from, you know, it's just a wide variety, just like you have a wide variety. You were spoon fed all these different things. I grew up listening and playing so many different genres. So that's all a part of me. And the hardest part I had with the first album was trying to figure out what to fit in it, how to fit it in, and still make it something that people wanted to listen to, something that wasn't too over people's heads kind of thing. You know, whether it be, you know, lyrically, melodically, you know, harmonically, you know, themes, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's always going to be good vibrations. That whatever it is that I do, I'm trying to uplift and, you know, get these vibrations, you know, these sonic waves inside of you in the best way possible, where it stays in you and it stays in you or it envelops you, however you want to say it, and keeps you in that bubble, in that space. When you ever think about my music or Mint music, you know, it's like, it just has that feeling. It just kind of elevates you and just in that space. So the first album, I think, was just trying to get inside that suit and just try to play with some different ideas and play with everything that I am, you know, musically, and everything that brought me to that point, you know, as a human being, you know. So, and then for sure, Sankofa being more personal, definitely more thematic. I wanted to go bigger, deeper, broader, you know, and, you know, it's because it's definitely bigger than me. You know, this whole idea, the whole concept has been here, you know, thousands of years. The concept is this, the gift that keeps giving. It's the question that we all wonder. It's like, who am I? Where am I going? You know, you have to look, you know, at the past and to figure out who you are. And, you know, as a brother in this country, you know, we've had a lot of, got a lot of history. And so, and we've lost a lot. And we don't know a lot. So, I mean, trying to go back and think about that is just huge. That's a concept, and that just thinking about it is just overwhelming. So you got to start at the beginning, and the beginning is wherever, you know, your story is. So for me, this is my sonic story with Sankofa, and it started with introducing Stokley. And I think that even that title was like, well, we know you. It's like, there are probably more people who don't know me than do. And people know me from Mint. So if you know me, it's a reintroduction. If you don't, then it's introducing. So I thought it was the title was apropos. And then this one, you know, going back, you know, and moving forward at the same time, looking back while moving forward. is just an amazing. I love that concept. This is something that, this is the title of this, but this is everyone's life, pretty much. Figure out, well, how did I get here? Where am I going next? Yeah. Okay, let's assess what you know what I mean. It's all of that kind of thing. So this is it's an amazing moment, amazing time, and it's like I said, this concept, this album is bigger than me. And it's, I hope that it continues to fit inside of many people. It's as many people to hear this as possible. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you tonight, and glad that you've been digging on it.
Listen, I'm just so honored to just be in your presence, especially as someone who's been a fan. And even when I listen to Introduction, I love you and I love Art in Motion. Art in Motion got me. I could not stop listening to that song. And then at the end, when Robert does what he does with his stuff, I was just like, oh, and I feel like I'm cheating on the other songs. I'm just like, he's got so many other songs. And I just feel like I just have been married to that Art in Motion, and I just couldn't stop.
That's the thing about it. You can be on that one for a whole day. It's like, or a week, whatever it is, it's up to you. You know what I mean?
Love it, man. I love it. It's just good music. It's just, you just stay with it or whatever. Love that. But all right, because I can sit back and talk about all that stuff for a minute. All right. So we talked about it, and you just touched on it a little bit. Sankofa means to go back and get it. Can you tell us, what you feel you had to retrieve in order to move forward?
Just there's so many things. This project is the gift that keeps giving to me. The more that I go back, and I've always been pretty reflective. I will switch instead of what I had to retrieve. I think I will talk about how I even got there. And I think what helped, one of the things is, both of my parents are educators. And so we always talk about history and education, that kind of thing. So it was always in me, that whole feeling. Now, fast forward to this whole 2020 situation that we all had with COVID. I was already, digging into this whole Sankofa thing. I had the title and everything. It's like, okay, this would be great to do this. Dig more, into who I am as a musician, man, that kind of thing. Just my journey, coming from introducing Stokley into this. So COVID really made us all dig and reflect in ways that we haven't before. So that really put that extra few layers on it, just because we'd never seen this before. We've never felt this before. This was very new, and it was very arresting, and it was paralyzing for a lot of us, because not only did it slow it down, it stopped for a lot of it. It stopped. I mean, stopped. Industries shut down, some to never return. Yeah. So, I mean, that alone in itself is something that I think everybody in life is just like, man, it just made you think about everything. Some people are still not returning to work. They figured some other things out. There's a better way to do this, or, and it's just the thing about life. There's, it's the yin and yang, good and bad, ugly and beautiful. We need both. We know a lot of people really didn't make it, and during COVID. We lost a lot of people. Some people are sick, been sick. Some are still sick, and some are still dying. And within that horrible time and that horrible thought, there are a lot of people who've thrived because of it. So me looking at all that and everything that happened, even with the George Floyd and all these things that happened here in Minneapolis, all these things were coming. I'm downloading life, downloading. And I'm like, wow, this is really amazing. So I'm downloading and I'm writing and I'm painting here sonically. So this is pretty much how I get to Sankofa. I had the title. It's like once I named the title, then everything just started laying out, and I'm just walking it. It's just pretty much destined, is the way I look at it. God wrote this. It's what I've been saying. I'm just kind of walking in it, having the faith in the talents and the gifts that I've been given, and whatever God gives me, I give to y'all, is what I always say. So that's pretty much how I got here. I don't know if that answers your question, but somewhere around there, I think it's important to point on, just how I got here. You know what I mean? And I think it talks about getting to the root. And getting to the root is trying to go back, So I'm sure it's one of those things where I didn't know, like, for instance, got a chance to go to Ghana, to Accra. This wasn't planned, but as things started, like I said, this is a Ghanaian term, Sankofa, from the Akan tribe. It's a Ghanaian term. I didn't know I was going to go, you know what I mean? But after getting with Kitty, amazing young artist from Ghana, Ghanaian artist, who's just killing it right now. The director was, from the guy who directs his videos. He's like, man, if you guys come here, we can do a video. Blah, 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 blah. Cool. We came there, and I knew it was going to be more of a spiritual journey, more than just doing a video. Right. It was the first time I'd been to Africa, and I wanted to go there. My parents had been, years and years back in the day. And so, again, I'm looking at this. I couldn't have written this any better, So this is the gift. Like I said, it's bigger than me at this point. I'm just walking in, and these opportunities are presented before me. It's like, man, this is amazing. So, yeah, man, this is what's next. I'm looking at it. So I'm just really we're doing the live thing now. It's just an amazing time right now. So I'm glad that everybody is receiving it because in the way that they are, because it should be received in that way. If this wasn't me doing this, I would still think that it's an important piece for the culture right now, for the world, I think, to hear. So this is just my little offering. There's many different creators and artists that are doing what they do. So this is my offering to you.
I love it. Well, it just basically reinforces the phrase that nothing is by coincidence. And
there you go.
This speaks very, very clearly to that in terms of your journey.
Yeah, man.
She, which is a crowd favorite and is also one of my favorites from this release. And recently, from what I hear, sir, it held the #1 spot for weeks on both the Billboard and Media Base, which is I think for after 28 weeks, which is just amazing and huge, especially in the Drake era. That's a big accomplishment to make right now. It was also your first career #1 and third top 5 chart single since you lost your solo career. How does it feel, man, to make that impact? Because as an artist, you want your music to be heard, you want it to be well received, but it's even more bonus, when it's really well received and gets accolades and does what that does. How did you feel about that?
It feels amazing. That's what any creative would love. It's just to do your art and for it to be well received and to get as many people to hear it as possible, and for people to really for it to fit inside people and for them to react the way that it's beyond what I thought. They were just like, man, this is just amazing, just all the great energy. So it's just great. It's what you would think any artist or any creative would love, to get their music out there. And then to have it well received that way, through radio and then wanting to play it. And it's like, show up at a show and they're like, oh, this is my favorite song, that kind of thing. So yeah, and after especially doing it, it's one thing to have a hit, in this industry or anything that people love that's successful, but to do it over and over and over and over a long period of time, that is that's part of the success. It's not so much about money and fame and that kind of thing. It's like, how long can you do this thing and to sustain, to be consistent? You know what I mean? So as I'll still, Brother Jam and Lewis's thing is like, instead of being hot, I'd rather be warm for a long time. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like that a lot. That is an amazing song too. Definitely one of my favorites. Every time I hear it, I just have to stop and always think of my wife at different points in time. I'll be like,
yes.
Talking about you, especially when you said freaking lady. That's anyway.
Me and Brother Carvin Haggins. Yeah. Just amazing. I love writing with him. He's Carvin Haggins. Just a lot of stuff from Philly brother, and a lot of stuff with Music Soul Child, and just look him up. Amazing, right? Amazing producer.
So give his name again, because I really love
Carvin Haggins. And he works a lot with Ivan Barrios, and Ivan, just look up Ivan Barrios, Carvin Haggins, look them up. Just amazing. Some of my writing and production partners as well. I love collaborating with different people. When I get tired of hearing myself, I'm like, okay, I need some different energies. Enough of you, man.
Right? No, and it's great because I was going to ask you about that, because even back on introducing Stokley, I was like, wow, this who are the scribes? I said, is that, I'm sure it was you, of course, but I knew that you had probably had some collaborators too.
Yeah.
But I was just like, man, you know, from Art in Motion, of course, I'll mention that from the last album, only because in my opinion, this is just a side note right here, it reminded me a bit of Rocket Love in terms of the energy, in terms of some of the things that you guys were saying in it and stuff like that. I caught the sonnet, I caught everything. I'm a Stevie fan. So was that what you guys were going for in terms of that, or that's just kind of how that worked out?
That is so amazing that you were very tuned in. You're a very wise man. And your sensibilities is on point. Definitely it had that kind of Rocket Love thing without me knowing. You know what I mean? Definitely a Stevie fan, you know, all of that.
All day,
but, you know,
day.
I just knew that it had to be cinematic. I wanted to be sensual, you know, without it being like overtly sexual, but it can something be sensual. It can be sensual. It's like, wow, but it's got that sexual energy, but it's not overt. Right. You say all these things. I just wanted to paint different pictures. So again, that's Ivan Barrios, Carvin Haggins. That we just amazing team. So I love writing with them. Just the chemistry is, you know, it's everything. So yeah, we write really well. I was out in Philly when we just, you know, out there painting it, man. Just out there painting.
Talented. Because I said, who is writing these bars?
Yeah.
My God, they are not playing up in here. All right, let's get to another one that I love to death. Lost is another huge favorite of mine on the Sankofa album. It also seems to be a very important component in the overall message around Sankofa, like a very important piece. I feel like it's about rediscovering yourself and then finding your way back to your nucleus or your home, as you said in the song. The arrangements and everything in that song felt like a motion picture, especially towards the end. It was crazy. Tell me about how that song came together. And if you were thinking about how this song would be played live when you were putting it together, because that's how I felt, like you were just putting it all together going, man, I'm murdering them in the studio. Oh, they're going to get it in the stadium.
It's the orchestration, the craziness in my head, I guess. But I started that on my laptop, the keyboard, how you hear it. It started like that in Atlanta. We had a show, and I think it was after one of the shows, I just started you know, I had one of these moments. I'm just in it, you know, afterwards, I was still buzzing from the show. And so that's how the actual music started. And I got home and transferred everything and just kept, you know, expanding and expounding upon the ideas. And it felt like, it definitely cinematic. It just felt like something really special, felt important. You know, that was the mood for me. And the melody started coming to me, you know, and it felt like, well, what was going on with everything. And probably this was for sure before like the George Floyd stuff and all that, you know what I mean? And so much had been happening, you know, before that. So, I mean, the George Floyd thing was just blew up, but that had been happening anyway. So I'm having this in my psyche and everything and just swirling all these things in around, and the world is going crazy and the world is drunk, Sadiq said, and Raphael Sadiq. And I'm just like, man, putting all these things together, like, you know, but I didn't want it to be preachy in a way where like I'm kind of like talking down to you. It's like, you know, because you see that I say, you may have lost your way. I may have lost my way. We lost it. Let's find our way. All of us find our way home. We don't know where, and it comes together with the whole Sankofa thing, going back, the roots, the bottom, the beginning. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And you got to get back. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, all these things where I was speaking to, and again, Carvin Haggins. I'm like, this is what we're thinking, man. Let's bring this together. You know, so we paint really well together. And just brilliant. So just bouncing ideas off each other. And and the music just kept expanding, and I kept expanding. It's like, you know, it just felt like after a while, you know, it was very, like you said, cinematic, but definitely had this kind of, I'm like, it needs to go somewhere else, almost like, you know, you're in the wilderness or you're in a desert or you're somewhere. And that's where I wanted an open valve
Yeah.
sound. Oh, like you're trying to find it. It's just reverberating off the mountain, and you're just trying to find it. And it's almost like a prayer to God, that bring me to it. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it. And then again, the heartbeat, the drums. I felt like I wanted to have something, So I mean, just like you just play your heart out. So that's what I did. Just play my heart at the end with a little, just little drum offering, because was my beginning with drums. So there's a bunch of things that signify so many connections within it. So it's not just I'm singing a song. There's so many things that are connected. You know what I mean?
I felt that. I felt that. I could feel as I was listening to it, I was just like, yeah, this is more so the journey that he's documenting here. This is the journey to Sankofa, and I was like, wow, this is really amazing. It's like, I didn't know all the deeper things that were happening. I don't know all the specifics, obviously, but I could tell through listening to the words. I mean, you started off, what the words are heavy. What chosen man, stolen man. I was like, ooh,
yeah.
You gonna start it like that?
Yes, mama got addicted. Dad's been convicted. Family's facing eviction. That's right.
Deep, very, very deep. I said, when you started it like that, I was like, that's heavy. I said, this brother's, he's not only singing and entertaining, he's saying something right now. And
it's just the narrator. It's like, I'm just observing. This is the landscape. It's nothing new. We're just saying it again, just in case for the people in the back, and just in case we forgot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just to remind us and keep us well. I mean, we can dance and party and everything, but also, two things can be true. So many things are happening all at once. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, I've been around you for in terms of your music for many years. You and I have definitely, whether you know it or not, we've aged up and come through the years together. So it's very important that we take care of ourselves and stay healthy. I saw the She video, my brother. And I'm going to say, from a fitness perspective, challenge accepted. In terms of that, I would like to know, sir, what you've been doing in terms of your diet and your workout regimen. I saw you were channeling your D'Angelo there. And I said, okay. I looked at my wife and I said, all right, you know what, Stokley, challenge accepted, sir. But what are you doing to, as you say, fight gravity?
I've always been on a quest for, better health, since I was younger, introduced through eating, which is a lot of it, since I was younger. And, you get older, you get more and more serious about it. And the thing that I'd say to myself is, you can do what you need to do for your body, or your body's going to do what it wants to do with you.
Exactly.
And the latter, you won't like that. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna like it. So, and a lot of times you can't stop it. So I figure I better get control of it. I'm not perfect. I will preface and say that. Not perfect, but got my cheat days and all that stuff. Right? Eat this and stuff that I like. I got my sweet tooth. My wife is a pastry chef, so I need to mention that because she's amazing. And that's people are like, how do you do that? When we first got together, she used to cook a house cake, and I was like, yo, you got to stop this Sunday house cake thing. I know it's a tradition with grandma and us, but we can't stop. We can't do it, because I'll be rolling around the stage talking about, look at him.
Oh no, I can feel you. I have a wife who is extremely talented as a baker. In terms of that or whatever. It's not, she doesn't do it for a profession or anything like that, but she can bake. And I'm like,
you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about,
bro. It's
a problem. So we got that under control, but that's not the only thing. But the things that you hear, man, it's not a mystery. Of course, trying to stay hydrated and trying to pick the best workouts for whatever my body can take. Right now, we are into working out in 125-degree heat. Is what it is. So it's in Tabata exercises is what I like to do. Short bursts of any that, where you can burn calories while you're sleeping, but it's a lot of very short bursts of, very intense workouts. And you do a series of, sets, and that works out, but also in this 125-degree heat, there's also infrared heat, I should say. And so that helps with recovery and restoring all that kind of stuff. And you know, lightweight's not a lot, but a lot of resistance, you know.
Yeah.
And if I can share anything, the main things you get old when you get older is stretching, 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 stretching.
Flexibility.
It's the difference between walking upright and walking hunched. I mean, really to get those ligaments moving. Something, not to get technical with, but you know, that's if that helps anybody, you know. And of course, most of it is going to be the eating too. So and that's hard. Once we can get your lifestyle together like that, you know, at least get, you know, even if whatever you can do 3 to 5 times a week, if you're doing something that is on a nutritional kit, you know, it's good for you. I think fasting is good, you know, to give your body a break, because until you fast or cleanse, you don't really realize how much time is spent eating. And the thing is, you bombard your body like 24, like something's like, oh, let me get a midnight snack. Oh, let me get in there 4 hours later, you're up. Let me get something to eat. Let me get another snack. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's constantly bombarding. So your body doesn't get a chance to rest. You know, that's what breaking the fast in the morning is, after give your body 8 hours, you know, breakfast, you know, whatever. Anyway, that's kind of, you know, where I'm at. You know,
you're looking like you're keeping it tight, bro. So this is all good information. Like I said, challenge accepted. I'm not scared. Challenge. All right. Your single Cascade.
Yeah.
On the top 10 in Billboard and Media AUC charts. And there is another version of it though on the song. And it's incredible. Describe the difference between those moods and why you decided to expand upon that specific composition.
Okay, so shout out to the Bonfire, first of all. She just made that thing come to life.
Absolutely.
That sultry, blue, brown, just smooth, smoky vocal she got, you know. She comes through with the sensual sexiness of it all. And I wanted to definitely get that out there because she's just an amazing artist. And the vibe is more like, you know, with Sankofa, it's framed in this kind of in its Africanisms, I call it, but it's also, that doesn't mean it stays there. It just means that's where it's, you know, those are my parameters. Right. But I'm a Black man in America in all these different genres and all these different moods and decades that it came through. Cascade is a reflection of the 80s, you know, so you can think Screams of Passion, or you can think Juicy by Ntume, you know, that kind of vibe. This must be the baby, you know what I mean? So, but it's organically, it's one of these things where you do it and you figure out what it is. It's like, oh, this feels like, oh, or other people help you, you know, it's like fans when they hear it, they're like, this feels like, it's like, wow, you don't even, yeah, it's just it's part of your sensibility, you know? And so that's what that was. And then Shakespeare is a writing partner, I think is another one. And another amazing duo. It's amazing partners. So we talk about the feeling of it and, you know, send them stuff back and forth. This is how that came about. You just wanted something that felt good. Just wanted something that felt good. You know, I wanted that. I just did what I wanted to hear, did what I missed, you know, about in music right now. It's like, if I wanted something that felt like the 80s, here you go, Cascade. So while that was happening, I felt like, you know, some of the fans that, well, we like some of the stuff, if we hit the slower vibe, that kind of vibe, you know, because I think people are still realizing, they still love that part of it, but what they don't realize is where I naturally sit is more in a mid and up tempo space. That's just where I usually sit. You know, I'm a drummer, and that's what, you know, so, and I had to develop things that were more slower, and which, you know, people seem to take to that. So I thought, what if I just reimagine this vibe, you know, slow it down, make it more sensual. And that's what I did, you know. And the funny thing about it is I actually, my son is 14, he's interested in music. And I gave him a challenge. I said, I'm gonna give you this acapella, see what you can do with it. So, you know, he really inspired me, you know, and because he's coming up on my ass right now. He's coming up on it. And so I was like, man, this is really, really good, man. And so, but this, there's another version I may release at another time that he did. He did 2 versions. And so he really inspired me. And that's where you have the Lover's Quarrel mix. And I did the video, me and my manager, directed that one, that you see the video for. So let's just create something directed by my guy, Josh Stewart, you know. So we got in there and mixed it up a little bit, man, reimagined it, put a little sauce on, a little sexy sauce, a little sensual sauce. And yeah, I'm glad y'all like it though. So it was
love that one. Cascade is another one. I think the first week I listened to Sankofa, I couldn't stop. Listen, I just listened to Cascade before we got on or whatever. And the video is amazing. it's another one. I just sit there and just zone out. It's when you said, easy come, easy. Yeah. I'm like, whoa. That waterfall of pure emotion, baby. I was like, yes, indeed. This man knows what I like. He knows what I like right there, man. As you can see about this album in terms of that or whatever. Okay. Prince.
Yeah.
One of the most beloved artists to ever walk the planet. You had a chance to befriend him and collaborate and receive mentorship, which is something out of this world for anybody to have to do. How did that relationship come about, and how was it having an icon of sound from your home area in your backyard?
It's so crazy because there's so many musicians and bands and artists here in the Twin Cities that I grew up listening. Out of here, there's so many bands I've played with that have just influenced me. And some of those people very young, you know, I've got a chance to play with some of the people who he was influenced by, you know, were people right around here, you know. And so growing up with and around that kind of spirit, that energy is just amazing. It's infectious. It's something that you just become a part of it, you know, your surroundings. How the relationship came about, it's one of those things where, you know, he was always very hands-on with, you know, his musicians, you know, handpicking these people, and he would come at different clubs and watch who's doing what. Oh, I like him. And like, you know, our first drummer in Mint, you know, Michael Bland, actually was ended up being Prince's drummer. But Mike would actually taken the promo pictures right before we got signed. So he was actually a primary member of Mint, you know, it's on the contract, you know, but he made the decision to go with Prince and that whole thing. So there's so many musicians who played with Prince who we knew, and Prince knew of us, of course, being from hometown here. But not only that, some of the other musicians would speak of us to him, you know. So for a long time, you know, we'd know each other through the other people. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe some other brothers from Mint could may remember differently, but what I remember is I think it was about formally like in 1998, 1999. He used to do this Love for One Another. It was really his birthday, and he would have a lot of different artists from around the country, around the world, his favorites, come and perform, you know, for, you know, a few days, whatever.
Wow. And
so we did that. And it was like, oh man, this is great. He's loving what we're doing. So I've been hearing a lot about y'all. Never got a chance to really see you all, which I'm sure he did see us. You know, he has his ways of knowing what's going on. He's always in the know. And matter of fact, when before we got signed, Mint used to do a lot of showcases. And one of the showcases we did was at First Avenue, which First Avenue was the club which he made famous for Purple Rain. And we sent out invitations to MCA. They came out. Flight Time came out, Jam Lewis, and a rep from Paisley Park, you know, and what he wanted was to send a videotape. He said, I'm sure they sound good. I'd rather see them than hear them right now, you know, because, you know, he's so visual kind of thing. So, so yeah, that he definitely knew of us before we even, you know, got signed anything. So in '99, we had the Love for One Another. We played that, and they loved it. And I think since then, man, he'd always been looking out for us. Really generous, take us here and there. It's like, what are you guys doing this weekend? I thought, oh, if you give us a little bit more time, we can work it out. But we're working this weekend. We can, you know, because he's just like that. He's like, what are you doing?
On the spot creativity. Let's go. Yeah.
You know, and a lot of fun like that. And just struck up a relationship with the band, and later on with him personally, just, he would call me up and just come out to Paisley and just talk about life or whatever, music and, that kind of thing. And one of the things right before he passed was he'd asked for, why haven't you ever thought about doing something solo? I mean, I love the band, you have, it'd be great to hear. I know that I see something in you, I've seen you perform, and, I hear it. And I said, actually, I'm working on it right now. And he's like, well, can I be a part of that? I was like, well, of course, man. So it was one of the greatest things that never happened, but it's his spirit and his musical DNA is in everything that I do. And it's like a lot of different artists, but since he's from here, he just had a way of painting, man, that just, you never forget. He fired on every cylinder and just was a great, he just knew he lit that fire. So yeah, I mean, we miss him to this day. We all do. And glad I had the opportunity to spend some time with him and just to see what it was like up close, man. Just like amazing.
No, rest in power to that brother, but his music will live forever in our hearts, minds, and definitely our iPod streams. So all too good. Now, we talked a bit about this earlier, but I want to go a little bit deeper. You began your career singing songs that focused on your love of women and their beautiful features. I'm with you. Yeah. On this release, you've got 2 songs. I mean, all of them are, centered around love and stuff, but you have 2 that kind of stand out to me in terms of, sonnets for the women of the world. That'd be She, and then the latest single, Woman, who we talked about a little bit earlier. Can you tell me why it's so important for you to really put your affinity for the ladies on full display?
Because I think we need balance. I think there's enough negativity speaking on and the other, especially in the more popular genres, what is promoted and what is celebrated is probably it's not well balanced. You know what I mean? So the food that we are getting, I think can be a little bit too much. I like a lot of it too. It's just to create a balance with it, so, and the balance is out there. It's just like we need folks, that have my kind of narrative to kind of help fight, that whole thing. So it's as simple as that to me. And it's just like, I'm always going to celebrate women. I have a mother, a sister, wife, cousins, that's, got to show that and spread that love, man. It's like without women, mothers, we wouldn't be here. Nobody be anywhere. So I'm always going to be in that crib and that gratitude to that. So, I'm here to do, and you are here to do what it is that you do. You know what I mean? So I'm always going to be complimentary as far as that, Now there'll be other things that, I talk about that might be anecdotal. It's just like, okay, this happened to me and this wasn't a good experience, whatever, that's just within the realm of life. But, glad to be here in order to experience that. You know what I mean? So
no, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. In the summer of 2020, you did release the 2nd single off the album, Virant, with Big Snoop Dogg, Uncle Snoop.
Snoop. Oh.
How was it releasing that type of music with that type of artist in the middle of a pandemic?
It was a lot of going back and forth in my mind, to be honest with you, because that was when the George Floyd thing was popping off really heavy. And we stopped everything. I was paralyzed here, and everybody around the world pretty much, but here it was, man, it hurt. It was just really, it's like everything stopped, inside of the virus. We were already experiencing the beginning of this whole COVID thing. So it was a lot going on, man. It was very difficult. And I was trying to go back to my management. That's like, I don't think this ain't the time right now. I don't think I need to. So I consulted with a few people that are that are educators, and it's like, what? Through speaking with them, I figured that and my father and mother too, they're like, what? When we were going through the turbulent 60s, because they were in the movement back in the day, we had all of this horrible stuff that happened. And what got us through a lot of times were these messages and these songs. We weren't singing because we were happy. You know what I mean? A lot of times, just like back in, and this goes back to our, that's why slaves, would sing, field hollers. Sounded beautiful. It sounded like, these moans and these spirituals, just like to get us through. You know what I mean? And this was, I had to figure, you know what? There are all kinds of soldiers out here. There's political soldiers. There's street soldiers. I'm an artist soldier. So they need me in this way. I had to, get it in my mind, that's what's going on here. And that's what it's always been. So again, being the sonic healer that I am, so a lot of artists are, that's what I do. So I think I can be of service that way. So we're going to need to, I felt like Vibrant was a kind of an exhale for a second. We're going to get back to protesting and doing what we need to do, but, just a little decompression, within that. So that's how that combined, why I decided to release that at that time inside of all that. But there was definitely some heavy contemplation going on, seriously, I almost didn't, seriously, it was kind of a tough moment. But I'm glad that we did. And I think people needed something to hold on to feel good, because there was so much, and this COVID thing was coming down on us. And we're looking at the police brutality, which had already been happening. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's as much as I could do at that point. So I think that's what was happening. So to get Big Snoop on it was just amazing. He always brings the party with him. I wanted to, this is another one where I reflected back to my early adulthood. I loved roller skating. I just, again, doing the things that I loved and missed and wanted to see. So creating like a 90s vibe, kind of West Coast, kind of real wavy kind of situation. That's what I miss, and let me do it. I heard no other voice on it except for Snoop. So I was like, I got to call him. He was on my wish list, and well, here it go.
And it fit his style and vibe just perfectly too. It was right on target.
Yeah.
Right on target. All right, as we're kind of rounding it here, my brother, and we've been doing great. You've been fantastic. This has just been, I'm just savoring every single moment of this conversation. You've continued to stay busy and make a huge impact over the years. Can you share some of the projects you've worked on in the past or currently? Because, sometimes I feel like, especially as kids of the 90s, we feel like our artistic heroes, from that time period, that they just disappear for some reason, that they just go away somewhere, and, you don't know what they're doing anymore, when in reality, many of them are still making impact on the music that you hear today. That sound that you hear, that you're so familiar with, many times is coming from those same groups of people that you may have thought just for whatever reason magically disappeared. So if you could share with the people how busy you have truly been, in addition to what you do with Mint.
Yeah, I'm in the thing. I'll start there just because, a lot of the times, even with Mint, people are like, what happened to you guys? It's like, when you go into the independent stage, it's like, it's not, you have to kind of search it out, because the way that your music is received is in a different way. Mm-hmm. So we did a lot of touring with Mint, and people didn't realize, unless like, oh, I know you guys we were putting out records the whole time, so with us, so it not even getting to other people, we were still doing things as ourselves, if you're really following the bouncing ball. And then, with the solo stuff with me, but even all through that, there was another group I was involved with in France, Ursus Minor, and we would tour every, pretty primarily in France. A lot, and sometimes twice a year, just these, a month, two, or whatever. So projects like that, or for like production projects, like I've been involved with I don't know, Geo Scott through and this is all through Mint, and in between, that kind of thing. Wale, Boney James, my goodness, man. Lend my talents to Brother Ali. He's an amazing MC from here. Man, you can probably rattle off, because I forget a lot of stuff that I've done. Until somebody says, "Remember you?" I was like, I do now that you mentioned it. But yeah, I mean, it's just trying to keep ourselves as busy as possible, and to try to stay inspired. People call you to do certain things, whether it be I need some drums on something, or I need some vocals or background. There's a lot of stuff that I've been a part of that is in the pipeline now. And some of those things have NDAs attached to them. So I can't say anything, So some of those types of people, are just amazing and exciting. I can't wait till those projects happen as well. But yeah, so many different things. When you think your favorite artist or art group is out of the loop, you just probably need to go and figure out. Sometimes they're taking a chill, but a lot of times they're out working, and it's not how you got to discover them in the first place. They may have a different way of working. There may be a different circuit, which there is, because of technology and the independence of artistry these days, people are working differently. I mean, look, we're doing an interview. Usually we'd be in person doing this kind of thing. So where I didn't see this interview, you got to go search it. So that's the same thing with music and your favorite artist, So when you think they're gone, they're not. It's just they're working in these nooks and crannies and getting it done that way, So again, kudos to you for even the interest to help keep spreading the word, not to me, but other artists as well, because we only as strong as each other. So we're just going to keep on fighting the good fight, man.
Exactly. And the reason why I brought that up is because I felt it was important that people know that, hey, he's doing much more either with Mint as well as other people in terms of that. I just feel it's extremely important that people understand that people are out there still contributing. It's like that sound that you hear, it's still there. These people don't just go away. Our architects are alive and well, and their music
That's right.
Forever. So I felt that was important. All right, last one here, my brother, because you've been so gracious with your time, and of course being agile with the platforms as well with that one. In terms of in the future and things that you're going to be doing or whatever, you've accomplished so much. You've sold a lot of records. You've put out anthems that people are going to sing forever. We all know, your ability to drum and to sing and to perform. What's next for you, sir? What are some things you haven't done yet that you're looking to do?
I haven't. I want to get back in the space of like theater, which I had a little run when I was younger, got bit by that. And then the music thing took over. So I want to flip it back to that at some point. Also, some writing for film and that kind of thing, some scoring or some soundtracks, things like that. Just I've done little pet projects and things like that. Even like when my son was at this really unique school he used to go to, and I was they did these blacklight plays, and I was the musical director for that. So that really kind of piqued my interest in another area, things like that. Just a lot of fun, just a lot of freedom, just the wildest stuff you think of. But, in the simplest way, I would have to write these, come up with these songs that spoke to children and just positivity, just affirmation, things like that. And
okay. Backing up a little bit there on the last question. Not sure if you can still hear me or whatever. We froze here, sir.